government exists in Tigray. And Tana Forum said to be an ideal platform to thrash out key security issues of Africa. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching at this news hour with the news. I'm Binyam Gatana. Thank you for joining us and do the rest of the news. And now the news in detail. Ethiopia current issue fact checked reiterated Friends of Ethiopia, or those which claim to respect the sovereignty, territorial integrity and constitution of Ethiopia, should refrain from using illegal terms in the upcoming peace talks to resolve the conflict in Ethiopia's restive north. Expressions such as Government of Tigray or State of Tigray, external service are not just mere mistakes, but do threaten the sovereignty of Ethiopia and the need to be fact-checked, it added. In light of the peace talks, our friends and allies should remember that the two parties are fundamentally different. One, a democratically elected, legitimate government, and the other, the TPLF armed group. Likewise, expressions such as Tigray administration or regional government of Tigray are unacceptable because there is no entity in the Tigray region that has been elected in accordance with the Ethiopian constitution. It further stressed that any attempt to state that the peace talk is between the federal government and the region of the Tigray is not only unacceptable but also violates national sovereignty as well as rules-based international order. Executive Committee of the Prosperity Party arrived in Jijjiga. The delegation led by Prosperity Party President Abiy Ahmed, including Vice President Demek Mekonnen and Adam Farah, and regional head of states, other members of the party's executive committee arrived in Jijjiga, Somalia region earlier Friday. The incumbent Prosperity Party Executive Committee has kicked off its regular session. The party's executive committee is expected to deliberate and set direction. In other news, Kenyan President William Ruto said the launch of Safaricom mobile service operation in Ethiopia shows the long-standing ties between Ethiopia and Kenya. Speaking on the commencement of Safaricom, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed underscored official operation of Safaricom proved Ethiopia gives due attention for ICT to realize its prosperity journey. Haptam Washagri has the details.
Safaricom, Kenyan state-owned company Vodafone and Free Float has launched providing mobile service in Ethiopia with the presence of heads of states Thursday. Speaking on the occasion, Kenyan President William Ruto said the commencement of Safaricom is showing the strong comprehensive partnership between Kenya and Ethiopia.
This event is a beautiful celebration of the character, strength, and promise of the deep relationship between Kenya and Ethiopia, which dates back to the birth of our republic 6 decades ago. It testifies to the deep brotherly ties, exemplary neighborliness, and effective partnership that have characterized the essence of the excellent special relationship between our two countries.
Ruto appreciates Ethiopia's wise decision to liberalize the telecom sector at this critical time.
When the government of Ethiopia resolved to liberalize the telecommunications sector in 2018, It was inspired and determined to use the opportunity to harness the potential in bringing together the best of local, regional, and international strategic resources. The ways in which this project has been executed clearly affirms this intent and the visionary leadership and foresight demonstrated by my brother, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed on the launching ceremony underscored the operation of Safaricom proved Ethiopia gives due attention for ICT to realize its prosperity. According to the Premier, the decision of liberalizing the telecom sector is a part of ambitious economic growth strategy of the country.
Our decision to liberalize the telecommunications sector was anchored in the understanding that our ambitious economic growth strategy is reliant on leapfrogging Ethiopia into the digital era. Expanding reliable connectivity in every corner of the country is not only essential for providing access to telecommunication, it is critical for addressing binding constraints in critical sectors like agriculture, healthcare, logistics, education, tourism, and manufacturing.
The CEO of Safaricom, Manuel Sosa, for his part said the commencement of providing quality mobile service is critical to his company. According to Anwar, Safaricom is launching its mobile service to improve the lives of every Ethiopian.
As a company, mobile money and mobile financial services is a core part of what we do. It really is what we are known for. It's part of our brand, and it's really part of our personality. So this will allow us to start providing the services that we know which will have a major effect on the lives of all Ethiopians. So we're very grateful that we received this.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was Houghton Mashargri for the report. Now stepping to another news. Tana Forum is believed to be an ideal platform to deal with pressing peace and security matters of the continent. Briefing the press today at Sheraton Addis, board member of the Tana Forum Secretariat, Hailemariam Desalegn, remarked the forum provides an information platform for key African stakeholders to engage for African solution. Tana Forum is scheduled to hold its 10 sessions in the Bardar at the end of the next week. Daniel Kasson has compiled the report.
This year marks the 10th anniversary of the Tana High-Level Forum on Security in Africa. Ahead of the upcoming event to take place in Bardar, concerned bodies have briefed the media about the agendas for discussion. The forum, which will be held under the theme Managing Security Threats, Building Resilience for the Africa We Want.
This year's Tana Forum is invariably about how best to respond resolutely to emerging socio-economic, political, governance challenge, or manage such threats in a way that does not lose sight of the continent's most valuable resource, that is its citizens. How arts, culture, and heritage, as well as resilience in nutrition and food security, which are the AU theme of the last 2 years, respectively, can be harnessed to promote enduring peace, considering the continent's myriad challenge needs to be interrogated in this forum by shifting focus away from states and institutions to citizens.
I want to learn from you about your achievements so far. What has been achieved from this Tana Forum in the past consecutive years?
Tana Forum has succeeded to become a peer review mechanism where problems are defined, redefined, and put into a context, and solutions are suggested. So this is what is achieved by Tana Forum. So dialogue is the essence that Tana Forum is providing to the different stakeholders in the continent and beyond. So this is not an easy achievement, but it has got challenged
Ethiopia's former Prime Minister, who is currently board member of the Dana Forum Secretariat, Hailemariam Desalegn, has also expressed his conviction that the forum is in a good position to produce the desired outcome.
We expect the outcomes of the forum as a shared understanding of current and emerging peace and security threats in Africa, and commitment to managing threats by investing more in governance and building resilience. Now, resilience has become the catchword for this forum, with significant premium given to citizens, active and sustained participation in public affairs. That remains an important component in achieving resilience.
The forum is also set to evaluate Africa's contribution in investment in research and knowledge products that reflect Africa's solution to a global problem.
Meanwhile, the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Hailemariam Desalegn, expresses optimism that negotiation between TPLF and government, which is to be held in South Africa, would be productive. Hailemariam indicated the two sides don't benefit from being engaged in war. Rather, they need to come to terms for peace and security of their people.
But if you ask me my personal view in this regard, I'm very happy that South Africa has given the platform for parties in the conflict to have, negotiations through the AU-led process. So it is an AU-led process, and the support as member state of AU is immense. From what I know, from what AU has proclaimed as preparing this platform, both the federal government and the regional government of Tigray, or TPLF, has accepted for the negotiation. That's a step forward, because ultimately all solutions should come to the round table for resolving it. War has never been a solution and will never be a solution as well. So I think ending this war and ending this conflict in a peaceful manner is very essential. So I think that depends on the parties in the negotiation process to deliberate on a frank manner to seeing the Ethiopian people at large. Of course, I believe these are all Ethiopians coming to round the table to discuss. And I am pretty sure as Ethiopians, they will resolve the problem without any external interferences. I know there are lots of external interferences in some of the conditions, but in any case, I believe that they can shoulder this responsibility and bring about a lasting and sustainable peace to the country.
Likewise, diplomatic communities and stakeholders welcome the peace efforts being made by the Ethiopian government to end the conflict peacefully. Danish ambassador to Ethiopia also expressed commitment to support AU-led process. Tegisser Nisa has compiled the following story. Let's take a look.
The Ethiopian government on Wednesday announced that it has accepted African Union invitation to peace talks. Various diplomatic communities and ambassadors have been extending appreciation to Ethiopia's government effort to end the conflict via peace talk. On 6 October 2022, the chairperson of the African Union Commission welcomes the avowed commitment of the two parties in the Ethiopian conflict to the restoration of peace and stability in Ethiopia following the invitation to the AU-led peace talks due to start soon in South Africa. In an exclusive interview with ETV, Danish ambassador to Ethiopia expressed commitment to support AU-led peace process.
So our government stand on the northern conflict is to work for a peace agreement, and we support the mandate of the African Union in this regard. And we work closely with the EU Special Envoy, the US Special Envoy, and the UN. And I think the efforts that has been put together from these different people are very important, and we support a peace agreement as soon as possible.
She further indicated that Danish government will continue to support conflict-affected areas in collaboration with UNHCR and IOM.
We support through the UNHCR and also through IOM and different of our other non-governmental organizations who work in this area, and they make sure that that people are received in IDP camps, for instance, and that they get both the basic needs, but also that they get health and health supply and education.
High Representative of the EU for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Joseph Borrell, also noted that the EU welcomes the commitment of the government of Ethiopia to participate in talks the EU has invited. Former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Africa, U.S. Ambassador to Guinea and Ethiopia, long-term U.S. diplomat Tibor Nagy also appreciated the government of Ethiopia for it has accepted AU's invite for peace talks, adding that Tigray should accept ASAP without equivocation. He further went on saying to not let this opportunity pass by.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching at this news hour. Now stepping to another news. The Ethiopian Islamic Affairs Supreme Council has extended Maulid al-Nabi holiday best wishes. The Supreme Council delivered a statement on Friday regarding the celebration of the 1497th the birthday year of Prophet Muhammad. The Council statement said this year's Maulid al-Nabi will be celebrated under the theme the Prophet of Compassion, as he was sent to the whole world to express his excellence. According to the statement, Prophet Muhammad knew Ethiopia in a special way since his early childhood age. For this reason, the birth of Prophet Muhammad, Maulid al-Nabi, is celebrated with a special honor and pride among Ethiopians. Muslims, the statement added, the Ethiopian Islamic Affairs Council called upon the faithful to mark the day by extending compassionate deeds and preaching peace. Since the beginning of the war in the northern Ethiopia, the people of Tigray have endured countless losses over and above, bearing the brunt of destructive nature of the TPLF. The youth in particular have been forcibly conscripted, brainwashed, drugged, and hauled off to battlefields. A letter written by a young woman named Rawa portrays the heart-wrenching ordeal undergone by the Tigrayans as the terrorist TPLF is dogged on its my way or the highway approach. Johannes Fantaun has compiled the report.
The war in Ethiopia could have been solved through dialogue from the beginning, but the TPLF group, which held an overinflated view of itself, plugged itself into an endless path of destruction by attacking a Federal Army barrack. The most shocking of the TPLF's brutality was committed in Kobo, as this sad story from a young Tigrayan named Rahua. She was one such young Tigrayan who was forcibly conscripted to quench the TPLF's appetite for war. When faced with the bitter choice of either allowing her younger or her to the war front, Rahua, a sensible and smart girl, told the stony-headed TPLF conscript officials that she will go for it. By doing so, she spared her brother, who in turn did everything he could to support his family. The letter tells us that Rahua grew homesick while in the battlefield and found the sound of mortar, guns and heavy artillery much too loud to bear. She saw unspeakable brutality and death like cheap commodity. The letter also portrayed the gruesome life led by ordinary Tigrayans, and that fighters like Rahua suffer from homesickness while fighting a senseless war on the side of a terrorist army. In most of the homes, happiness and cheerful moods and even flicker of hope have vanished, despondency and grimness taking their place. On the contrary, the letter clearly shows the injustice committed against the people of Tigray and all Ethiopians by the group, which should not have gone to the war from the beginning. Tigrayan mothers and families alike feel dejected, thinking that they are forced to stand with an enemy fighting an all-out war against fellow Ethiopians.
In this auspicious Ethiopian New Year, ETV English will bring you new programs that will inform and update you on major national and continental issues that matter. Sit tight and remain alert as we are bringing you new programs entitled Diplomatic Insights and Explore Ethiopia. Stay tuned for more from ETV English, your new voice of diversity and renaissance.
And now, finally, the effects of droughts continue to be felt across Africa. In Kenya's Turkana County, where pastoralism is a way of life, hundreds of families are struggling to find food. The drought there has pushed families to the brink, with children suffering from acute malnutrition. Once again, Johannes Van Town presents the CGTN file.
In Kenya's county of Turkana, drought has wiped out livestock and crops, deepening a hunger crisis. For the past several years, the seasonal rains have failed, forcing people to leave their homes in search of food and water. With each passing season, the inhabitants here, mostly nomadic herders, have fewer resources to fall back on.
I have 3 grandchildren who have been affected by hunger, but this child I brought here today is both hungry and sick. All my livestock have also died due to the drought.
I have lost so much. Close to 300 goats have died. 50 camels have also died, and they still continue to die.
UN Children's Agency UNICEF estimates that almost 2 million children in the Horn of Africa requires urgent treatment for life-threatening severe acute malnutrition. Earlier this month, Kenya's President William Ruto declared the crisis a national disaster. The hunger problem is believed to be compounded by flood from the conflict in Ukraine and the coronavirus pandemic. Scientists cite climate change as another cause.
There hasn't been crops for all this time. And this is coming also in a context of the world where we see price of basic commodity spiking due to the Ukraine war, due to many other factors. And in a context also where we are hardly recovering from the 2 years of lockdown of COVID in this region.
Drought continues to beat. UNICEF is asking wealthy nations responsible for climate change to step up responses in affected countries.
And now a recap of the top stories once again. Ethiopia says no legally established government in Tigray. And Tana Forum said to be an ideal platform to thrash out key security issues of Africa. Dear ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching at this news hour with the news. I'm Binyam Gatana. Thank you for staying with us and have a peaceful night. Saying goodbye for me now. And for those who are celebrating Maulid al-Nabil, we wish you a happy Maulid. And once again, goodbye.